Verse 20. So God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very strong. Right? So God didn't zap them at the moment like Ananias and Sapphira there in Acts for lying, right? He dealt well with them. Why? Because the reasons why they did it, right? They were not like Ananias and Sapphira lying to fit in and make look as if they're just as good Christians as the rest of the church kind of idea. Right? No, this was to save lives. Total different reason. So the one group that was zapped, in this case, they were not zapped. They were actually blessed ultimately. And the people grew, they multiplied, and they grew very strong. So they more even. And so the Egyptians would have been more afraid. Okay, so what is the next steps they're going to take to get rid? So the enslaving them, making them work 24/7, not working. So what do we do next? Verse 21. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families. So this is the way God blessed them. These midwives, these two. Okay, so that is why I believe that only the two of them mentioned their names. There would have been more midwives. It's impossible to have less for that number of people. And I believe that there were that number of people. So, but the reason why those two mentioned, because they had no families. And now since they did this, the others would have done the same thing, but they had families, so they didn't mention. And since they did this, God blessed them. How did God bless them? By giving them their own families. I mean, that is a sign then that not that God is justifying their lie. Please, God's not justifying their lie and saying, oh, you're doing good. But the fact that they fear God and they're not going to kill. And remember, even especially at that stage, the one law that was written down, the Ten Commandments wasn't given yet. Okay, now when Moses is writing the story, yes, by then the Ten Commandments were given. But by that stage, it not. And which commandment did God give already by then? Well, that was the first commandment, don't eat of this tree, which they broke. And then the commandment to Noah, don't kill, right? Don't kill. So this is, they are not killing, they feared God, therefore they didn't kill. Okay, so in that sense, even at that stage, you can say, if you think of a retroactive usage of the laws, like, okay, because the law was given later, are they now guilty of breaking it before? No, they're not. So God bless them. So there are different reasons why you can see how it is justifiable by God to bless them for their actions. They deserved it. They deserved it because they feared God. Okay, it's not because they did an action and therefore now they feared God, right? Because they knew God, therefore they feared God, and that made them not do it. So God is blessing them because of their fear of God, their right faith, ultimately, not their wrong faith, right? Their right faith. Verse 22. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, every son that is born to the Hebrews you shall cast into the Nile. Okay, there's water behind us. Throw into the lake. But you shall let every daughter live. Right? So I can say again, so here it comes, okay? Here we have a lake. Now the Nile, yes, sure. Bigger than this lake. Right, so what do? Well, in the Nile, doesn't matter. This much water is enough to drown a baby. There's enough water to drown a full-grown man as well. Just put his head under the water, as long as his nose and mouth under the water, then he can't breathe and he'll die, right? So yeah, go throw them out there in the lake, right? Go throw them in the Nile. I mean, that's the water they had no lakes. Okay, so you could throw them in the Nile. So that's the idea. All baby boys, you throw them in the Nile. So if they're born already, we don't care. We're going to abort them even after 9 months. Okay? Don't tell this to the pro-choice people, because then they will start throwing the babies after birth into the Great Lakes or something like that, or the Pacific or the Indian Ocean, whichever. No, not the Indian, sorry, the Atlantic or the Pacific. Yeah, don't give them ideas, right? But this is not what Pharaoh. Okay, so you can't stop them from being born. Well, that's not a problem. Find them, throw them into the, okay, abort them after 9 months. Already born, they're already humans. Don't care. They're a boy, kill them. Okay, the same thing here. Herod is going to do there in Nazareth later on. Nothing new again. The same thing is done today in wars. Men are killed, boys are killed, and women are raped. Again, nothing new. We don't change. That's the sad thing of it. We think we do, but we don't. Still the same old, same old. Okay, and this is now basically where this chapter ends then, on this very kind of low note of, well, abortions didn't work, so now let's just do infanticide. And just, which the other one is the same, according to me. Okay, same thing. But at least here's already outside the mother, which is, well, in both cases, even bad, horrible, horrendous. Okay, and that is how this chapter ends. Not on a good note. Not in a good. They're enslaved. There are lots of them. The Pharaoh kind of knowingly forgot about Joseph because he wanted to. He gave the reasons, and the baby boys are thrown into the river. Okay, so just walk around here a bit and show you a bit more of the park. So it's, yeah, there's one thing about Bangkok. There's no hills, no mountains or anything here inside. Right? If you want hills, then you kind of need to make them, or you go up a high building or something like that. But so it's pretty flat. But then so this park is pretty flat, unlike the one there in KL where we recorded, where it's in the mountains or hills at least. But it's very beautiful. You can look around and you can see the beauty and people on the little swan boats on the lake, kind of enjoying themselves, and clouds coming over, giving some cloud cover. So yeah, it's just trying to see if I can. I think it stopped following me. Okay, so just try and get to the other side here as well, so you get an idea of the. It's a pretty big park. It's beautiful. I mean, yeah. Okay, see, following me, following me, following me. It's good. Right. So I just last thing I'll say, that area over there, like there behind the tree, that there's quite a big area still, more planted, more trees, and this area is pretty just much grass kind of.